Hey guys, Joe Workman here, and in this video, we are going to be implementing Total CMS blog, right? From A to Z. I'm not going to dive into all the detailed settings. We just want to get the thing working, just set up from ground zero. I'm going to start with a completely blank project, and we are going to see how to set up a blog. Really exciting. This is important because, I have a lot of videos already on setting up blog, but a lot of it's piecemeal. Maybe some things have changed over time. So, maybe some of the setup instructions that I did changed when I released another update, right? So I just wanted to, current version of Total CMS is 1.4. And if you're using Total CMS 1.4, this is exactly how we implement blog. So without further ado, let's jump in and have some fun. Okay, so here we are in a completely new RapidWeaver project. I've done nothing other than create a blank project and save it. I will provide this project file as a download after we're done here. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to add a new page. Whoops, I'm going to add a stacks page. Okay, here we are. We have a stacks page. Now, before that, I'm just going to do some of the routine project stuff in here, right? So I'm going to add in my project, my URL. Okay. Important thing about web address. Okay. There are things that matter. Okay. So here I'm publishing this to a subdomain, basically my test subdomain. I don't have HTTPS on it. Okay. But if this is a production URL, you're probably going to want to have HTTPS, and you're probably going to have either www, or you're not going to have any of that. This is very important, okay, especially for blog, or all Total CMS actually, that this is a very different URL, okay? This is a very different URL. It has to be exact. You have to choose HTTPS or no HTTPS. I strongly recommend that you choose HTTPS, okay? And also choose www or no www. It really is up to you. That is a complete personal preference, okay? There are people that are on both camps. So you really should, make sure that you set up redirects. You pick one of those combinations and you set up redirects. I'm not going to review that in this video at all, okay? But make sure that you choose one. You can't set HTTPS here and then when you're in your browser, go to the non-HTTPS version and think that everything is going to work. You have to have redirects for everything. Very important. Now, while we're in this view, there's another thing that I want to do is I'm going to turn off RapidWeaver 8's generate social tags. The reason being is I want to have the social tags generated by the blog, by Total CMS. So I'm going to turn those off for this particular page globally for the project. If you want, you can turn them on and off. In RapidWeaver 8.1, you can turn them on and off on a page-by-page basis. But just for this, video, I'm going to turn it off everywhere, so we don't need to worry about it. Okay, so all in all, there are 4 different pages we need to add to our project to have a blog. We need 2 content pages and 2 admin pages. Okay, on the content side, we have the blog list, the page that displays all of our blog posts, and then we have the actual blog post page, the individual page for a single blog post. On the admin side, we basically have the same thing. We have the admin page that contains the list of our admins, the list of all the blog posts, and then a separate page that is the form just for the blog posts. Okay, so you can add and edit blog posts. That's it. Okay, now it is important. I recommend that you have the admin side on 2 different pages. And I recommend on the blog form page, it's all by itself. Don't have anything else. Don't have any other admin things on there. It's just that. Now on the admin side for the admin list, you can have that on, a page that has other admin elements. So that could be like on your main admin page. That's okay. But in this video, I'm going to have just the blog list because all we're implementing is blog in this video. Now, next off, in this project, I'm going to be using one of the built-in RapidWeaver themes because Total CMS can be used with any theme. And I don't want to spend the time to use Foundation to build a pretty site. I just want to get this thing done. So we're going to be using one of the stock themes in RapidWeaver. And that'll give us a nice, attractive site just by building with just RapidWeaver. So I've gone ahead and created I added all the pages into the project. Now I did add a home page just because most people are going to want to have blog be on a separate page, right? So just kind of keep with that. I have a home page, which we're just going to leave blank. We have a blog page. Now, if we look at the folder here, I named this /blog. So this is going to be in our website /blog. Okay. Now, if we look at the URL for post, I've done something a little bit different that some of you might not be aware of. And you'll see why we do this later on. But here I have /blog. And for the file name, I actually called this one post.php. Now, most of the time, I strongly recommend we name all of our pages index.php. Okay. In this particular case, you'll see why I did this when we start configuring pretty URLs. Okay. Then on the admin page, I have that set to be /admin. And on the post page, for this one, I just use /admin/post, and then I left that one as index.php. Okay, and that's fine. Because on the admin side, we don't really need to have pretty URLs and all that jazz. So we just care about that on the content side. So what we should start doing is we're actually going to start on the admin side. Okay, to start off with, I'm going to add an admin core stack to the page. If you notice, I don't have a license defined, so let's go ahead and add in a license. So next, what we're going to want is we're going to want to add a admin blog list to this page, right? So here we have a blog list, and this will contain all of our list of all of our blog posts. So I've already created a sample blog on my test server just to make this a little bit easier, right? That just has a handful of blog posts already there. And I called the CMS ID of that blog. So here I changed the CMS ID to this of blog. And actually, we should be able to preview this now, right? So I'm going to go ahead and preview this page. And here we go. Remember, we're in one of the stock RapidWeaver themes. And here is my admin list. As you see, I have a handful of blog posts already loaded directly in here. So really cool. We're already working, we're making progress. So here I have all of my blog lists for my admin side. And that's pretty much it for this page. I'm done now. So we're good. One thing we are going to want to make sure is in this blog list, we're going to want to set the blog form page. So I'm going to go ahead and click set link. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to be finding the post form page, right? So that's this page. We haven't created that yet, but let's go ahead and set that now. Okay. Next up, we're going to go, now we really are done. We're done with this. I'm not going to dive into other settings in this stack. That's all the setup that we need. Link to the form page, put your blog ID. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and copy this admin core. You probably want to partial this out. I'm just going to copy and paste it just for speed's sake. So I still have my license in here. Make sure that you set your licenses. Okay. Then on this, we're going to set the blog form. Okay. So because this is going to be the page that contains the actual form to edit and add new blog posts. Now, one thing of grave importance here is that for the blog form, you cannot just drag and drop whatever stack you want inside of here. Okay. Whatever Total CMS admin stack you want. Okay. You have to use these fields here. You cannot add whatever you want into a blog form. You cannot add ratings. You cannot add, an image. You cannot add a feed or a date, right? Or a toggle. You cannot add any of that into a blog form. You can only add the fields that are specified here. Now you can add column stacks and layout stacks to kind of make your form more readable, right? So for example, a lot of times I'll use a 2-column layout for a form because it's nice. You can have, one column that has all your main content and another column that contains, some of your subfields. So for example, we're going to want a title, right? So chances are we're going to want title over here, and maybe under the title, we want the permalink. Okay. And let's go ahead and just, I'm going to close this just to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to change the split because I want this first column to be bigger. Okay. So other things we're going to want, right? We probably want date. So I'm going to add date over there. And let's see, we want author. We definitely want author. We're going to add that. And we want categories and we want tags. So I'm just going to add those over here as well. And then we want, we want to set this as a draft or a featured. Okay. And actually what kind of be maybe cool is what we're going to do is we're going to add another 2 column over here. We're going to set draft. We're going to set featured. And over in here, we're going to set the gutter to 0. And we're going to do text in there. We're going to set this to be draft. And I'm going to copy that there. Set that to featured. Okay. Let's see what's next. We want summary. Okay, so we're going to want the summary below there. And the last field is content. Content. Oh, and I can't forget the gallery, right? We definitely want to have a gallery, a user to be able to upload whatever images they want. Maybe we add that above the summary. Okay, maybe there. Maybe break it up. Summary, gallery, content. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll add the gallery over here as well. But that kind of makes that maybe a little bit bigger too. Here, maybe we could do something like this, like put author over there. And I don't know. Let's preview this, see what it looks like. So there we go. That looks pretty decent. Actually, we could probably move the author back over here. I think that's okay, right? Cool. I like it. So here we have our gallery and our toggles and everything. I think that kind of works, right? Again, it's very important that your fields, you only add from this drop-down menu. We probably want to have a save button, huh? Right? That would be good. So at the bottom of our form, we have a save. Now what we want to do here is we could just add your favorite button stack. I'm just going to use a default stacks button here. And we're going to left align that. And then we're going to change that to be save. Again, you can put whatever button you want in here. I am just choosing to use the default stacks button. Perfect. So there we go. We've created a blog form page. I just moved the gallery down here and I moved the save button over here so it's kind of easily accessible, but you have full freedom over where you can position all of these, right? But that's all we need to do for our form. Now, one thing I didn't add to this blog list page that is probably a good idea. Basically, what we probably want to do is we want to add a button up at the top or somewhere that is a button for how to create a new post, right? So I'm going to create a new post button and I'm going to align it to the right. And basically all I'm going to do here is link it to the page. Okay, so we're going to go admin post. And this is just going to link to that page because linking to it creates a new post, right? When we link to it here, the blog list stack adds some special stuff to the URL to make sure that we edit an existing post. But it's a good idea to add a button up at the top or wherever you want so that people can create new blog posts easily. So if we preview this, we'll see we have a nice new post button up at the top of our blog list. Now, I think it's important, at this point, we're going to jump into analyzing and showing content from the blog on our content side, right? I think it's important that we have some data to actually display. So we have our admin pages set up. I recommend that you could do one of two things. One, you can create your own sample posts, just some data that you can visualize so you can, when you're creating your actual pages, you have something to see, right? It's very important. Now, I have the blog that you see here in this demo. I supply a download to that actual data. So you can just upload that to your server, to the CMS data server if you want, or CMS data folder on your server, okay? And that will allow you to have some dummy data if you want. You can get the download link on my doc portal on the Total CMS doc on the FAQ page. There is a download to sample data. And you just simply upload that to the CMS data blog folder, and you can have the data that you see right here. So without further ado, let's jump in and start displaying that content. But I just want to give you a quick note that it is important that you either use the admin pages that you just created to create actual content on the server, or make sure that you use the sample data that I can provide. Okay, here comes the fun part, right? We're now going to be creating the blog list. So this is the page that displays all of the blog posts for us to see. So we want to go to the content stacks, and I'm going to first off add the CMS core stack. And as always, I need to add my license key. Okay, that is all done. And I'm just going to hide that stack. And let's go ahead and add a blog list. Again, this is this Total CMS content blog list stack. And if you see here, I'm going to go ahead and change my CMS ID to be blog because that is the CMS ID. I'm not going to change any more of these settings. I'm going to leave these all as the default. And if you want to learn about how to configure these and modify these, go ahead and watch some other videos. But right now, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to create some stuff here. I want to add the title and maybe the summary and probably the image, right? So let's go ahead and show image. Okay, that's all I did. That's all I really want. I'm going to go ahead and preview this. And there we go. Like, this is pretty decent for like not doing anything. For some reason, this Brazil Summer Olympics doesn't have any images. But as you see, this is just the default content. I have my headers, the summary, and an image. Pretty cool. That pretty much does it for the blog list stack. That's all you need to do. Okay, so now for the fun part, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to copy the CMS core stack and we're going to go over to the blog post page. This is the page that the blog list is going to link into. This is going to display all of our blog posts. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and add the blog post stack. And here we're just going to add a bunch of stuff, right? So we're going to add, let's maybe add the gallery. How about a post gallery? Okay. In a blog post stack, we're going to make sure we change the CMS ID to be blog. Okay. Now, one important thing here is there is a preview post. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of the permalinks from a blog post that's on my server. Okay. So then I can preview that. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. So I had a blog post named vacation-dream. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to this preview post. So we have our title at the top, we have a gallery, and then we're also going to have the main content. I'm just going to keep this simple. We can add a bunch of other stuff in here, right? Word counts and authors and tags and various things, but I'm just going to keep it simple. We have our main content, the gallery, and a title, okay? And let's go ahead and preview our page. And voila. Now, this is the step that everybody skips. I don't know if they see this light box and ignore it, or they never actually preview the blog post page. But this is an extremely vital step in the blog setup. So this light box form saves the actual URL that the ultimate blog post will be set to, right? So this URL is used in so many places. It's used in the blog list automatically. So this URL is stored centrally on the server, and a lot of things reference it. Blog lists. So if you have a blog list, it pulls in that URL so it knows where to link to the blog post, right? When you're creating RSS feeds, it knows where the blog post is supposed to be linked to in the RSS feed. When you do the sitemap files for, SEO purposes, because Total CMS does create sitemap files for us, in the sitemap, it needs to know where the URL to the blog post page is. This is where all that is set. So many things, other places, blog post meta tags. Guess what? This controls that as well. So this setting is extremely important. I thought I made it simple because all you have to do is preview the blog post page. And if it knows, boom, you haven't done this yet, please do it. But the key is you have to preview the blog post page in order for any of that to work. So let's jump back in and have this set up. So here we are back on the blog post page and we have our lightbox. And if we notice here, it says the server setting has nothing set because I haven't saved anything on the server yet. And this is the setting that the project wants to set it to. You can't change that. That's what it's going to be used. So essentially, if you notice here, it says, blogpost.php %permalink equals, and then the CMS will add the permalink at the end of this, and that's going to be the URL to your blog post. Now, later on, we'll configure pretty URLs, but for right now, this is what we need. Now, before I submit this, one important thing to note is if you ever change your domain name, the website address, the path to the blog post page, or anything that results in the URL of this blog post page changing, you have to preview this page again in RapidWeaver and resubmit. Okay, let's go ahead and submit this, and we'll notice that it's saved and it's gone. And if I go ahead and preview this page again, it won't show up again, right? Because it knows that it's good. We saved everything. But I'm going to go ahead and change the blog post URL. I'm just going to rename this page really quick. Post 2. Let's preview again. And we'll see that Total CMS noticed that I've changed my blog post URL. It says, this is what's on the server, and you've changed things, and this is what I need to save now. Is this okay? Right? I'm not going to submit this because that's not what I want. I'm going to go ahead, but I just want to make sure that you understand that if you ever change anything related to the blog post URL, you have to preview this page again in RapidWeaver and resubmit this form. So I'm going to go ahead and change this back, and we should be golden. Okay. And if we scroll down, we'll notice here is our blog post content, right? We have the title, our gallery, and our content. Really nice, really simple. Now at this point, we're actually completely done. I'm going to go ahead and publish this to the server so we can see it live on the web and in action. So I'm going to go ahead and publish. Okay, so here we are on the published site. We're going to go ahead and go to our main blog page. Now, chances are I'm actually probably going to want to hide this post page from the navigation. I didn't do that. Same thing on the admin side. You want to hide that post page. But if we scroll down, we'll see that here we have our blog list. And I can go ahead and click on this, and it links through to the actual blog post page, and it brings in the blog post content, right? And if we go to our admin page, so here we are on the admin page, and as you see here, I have the new post button, and if I click on that, it'll take me to the blog form page, and this is where I can actually create a new blog post, right? And if we go back to the main admin page, we can go ahead, if we clicked on any of these, we would then go to the same form page, but we would be editing that blog post, right? So this is really simple. As you saw, it didn't take us long and a lot of configuration to get the blog fully working from zero to a full working blog. There was one key piece that a lot of people overlook, and that was that blog, that post light box that we have to set up the blog post URL. Okay. So now next up, the holy grail of this is setting up pretty URLs. Now, one word of caution, if you're implementing a blog list stack, and if you're going all the way down to the bottom at this advanced setting, and you're setting a custom post link URL, you are doing it wrong. You should not be using this. There is probably one person in the world that I know of, that maybe two, that should be using this setting. It was added for them. Don't use this. Okay. I put it in the advanced settings for a reason. You should not be doing this. Okay. Please, if you're using this setting and relying on it, you're doing things wrong. Do not use this custom post link URL in the blog list. You should be setting the post URL here inside the blog post stack via that light box. Okay. Now the next step is we got our blog working, but it wasn't using pretty URLs. Now, maybe I should have go back to kind of show you what a pretty URL is. Now, here was that the project that we just uploaded, and here is one of the blog post pages. And if we look at the URL here, it's sandbox.joeworknet/blog/post.php %permalink equals marketing versus SEO. Okay, that is not a pretty URL. A pretty URL would be something like this, where it's joeworknet.net/blog/marketing versus SEO. How do we do that? So to do that, we're going to go into the blog post page, and here we're going to do post URL, and we're going to set it to use pretty. Okay. And just as before, we need to now resubmit the blog post URL. So we're going to go ahead and preview this page inside RapidWeaver. And what we will notice is that I now have a new form to submit. because it says, hey, I noticed that your server setting was this, but your project is now telling me to use this. Is that what you really want? Yes, that is exactly what I want. But there's a caveat with setting up pretty URLs, is we need to have some rules in a file called htaccess. It's basically a text file, and we're going to create that file and modify it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these rules, and I'm going to submit this form. It's important we copy this, right? So we have this, we want to copy that, and then I'm going to submit the form. Saved, yay. Okay, we're done in the RapidWeaver side. I'm going to save this. So now in RapidWeaver 8, we can actually edit our htaccess file directly inside the publishing settings, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste in those rules that Total CMS gave me, and I'm going to say save and upload. Cool. So let's go ahead and test. And if we go back to our blog page and we link to it, voila, there we go. It's working now. And if we notice, we have a nice, beautiful, pretty URL. It's blog / marketing versus SEO. And it doesn't have any, permalink equals or any sort of, stuff in the URL. This is a nice, pretty URL that we can then use across, in nice sharing and stuff like that. And that does it, right? We implemented blog, and not only that, but we also implemented pretty URLs. Now, that htaccess, again, you can edit it inside RapidWeaver. I think it's a great new feature in RapidWeaver 8. You can also, use your favorite FTP app and a favorite text editor and do it that way if you want, right? Make sure you're using a plain text editor, but editing it from directly inside RapidWeaver is really nice, and RapidWeaver even kind of version controls it for you, so that's really cool. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you see kind of how to implement blog and how all the pages kind of work together, and how important that blog post lightbox is. That is the one key ingredient that a lot of people miss. And don't use custom post URLs inside blog list. Those are my top 2 tips for this. Another one actually is make sure that you add blog post content and that you set that preview permalink inside the blog post page so you can actually have something to look at when you preview your page. It's very important, right? It allows you to design your pages even nicer if you actually have actual content to look at inside RapidWeaver while you're designing. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and I can't wait to see what you implement with blog. We will talk to you later. Bye.